When we are young, we dream of living a long life. But as the years pass, we begin to realize something deeper. What truly matters is not how long we live, but how peacefully and how joyfully we live. Have you ever paused and asked yourself, what is the true purpose of my life? So often we are carried like leaves in a rushing river, chasing deadlines, applause and approval until one day when our hands can no longer hold, we realize how little time was spent simply being with ourselves. Now in midlife, after all the gains and the losses, I find myself cherishing the quietest hours like fine wine resting in its barrel. Life needs stillness to deepen its flavor. The young chase speed, applause, and achievements. But the wise elders crave something else. The calm of dawn. Honest conversations that open the heart. The quiet beauty of fleeting moments. This is the hidden gift of aging, the wisdom to finally see what is worth holding on to, and the courage to release what no longer belongs. And among the first things we learn to release is one of life's heaviest burdens: comparison. Because the moment we stop measuring our worth against others, we begin to walk in peace. Lesson 1. Letting go of comparison. For most of life, we are pushed into endless races: as children who studies harder, as adults who earns more later in life, who owns more, whose children succeed, who looks happier. But one day you realize, comparison is a prison with no exit. There will always be someone ahead, and always someone behind. The wise understand peace does not come from winning the race. Peace comes from walking at your own pace. There was once an old man who walked slowly in the park. Every morning people rushed past him. When asked why he didn't walk faster, he smiled and said, "Arriving early or late doesn't matter. What matters is that I enjoy each step." I once knew a woman in her 60s who spent half her life comparing her life to others. She wanted her children to be more successful, her house to look better, her life to appear perfect. Then her husband fell ill. Her children moved far away, and she realized comparison had stolen her peace. She said, "I wasted years chasing shadows. Now I walk in the sun." Seneca wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." True wealth is freedom from comparison. Once we stop comparing, another truth reveals itself: that even the things we hold most dear cannot stay forever. Lesson 2. Accepting loss and impermanence. In youth we try to hold everything close: love, health, money, even time itself. But with age comes a truth: everything is temporary. Loved ones may leave, health may fade, wealth may slip away, and yet wisdom is not found in resisting loss. Wisdom is found in smiling as you accept it. Think of the autumn leaf. It does not rage when it falls. It lets go quietly and nourishes the ground so new life may grow. There was a man I met at a hospice center. He was 82, fragile but smiling. When his wife died, he thought his world had ended, yet he said to me, "I learned to see her in every sunrise, in every kindness from a stranger, in memories that still warm me." His grief did not disappear, transformed into gratitude. I also recall an old woman who lost her son unexpectedly. For years she wore only black, But one spring she planted roses again. She told me my son would not want me to stop living. Every bloom reminds me love never really dies. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Do not mourn what is lost. Be grateful that it was once given to." Age wisely is to love without clinging, and to live without fearing the end. And when the fear of endings fades, what remains is the gentle joy of what has always been near. Lesson 3. Joy in the simple things. Happiness was never far away. There is a 78-year-old woman. I know she lives alone with 2 dogs and a cat. No medicine, no illness, no wealth. When asked if she was lonely, she smiled and said, "Not at all. I have my tea in the morning, the birds outside my window, a cat curled beside me. Happiness is always here, we just forget to see it." Another friend in his 70s tends a small garden every afternoon. Tomatoes, peppers, a few roses. He told me, "These plants don't care about my past. They only ask for water, sunlight, and patience. In return, they feed me and give me beauty." And once I visited a fisherman long retired living by the sea. He said, "I no longer chase big catches. I sit with my line in the water. And if the fish come, good. If not, I still have the waves, the wind, and the horizon." The wise know true joy hides in simplicity. A shared meal, a warm laugh, a sunrise after a long night. The world shouts, "Chase bigger pleasures." But the soul craves small, honest joys, and once the heart learns to rest in simplicity, it also learns the courage to set itself free, to no longer live chained by what others demand, but to walk lightly with its own truth. Lesson 4. Freedom of the soul. Many believe freedom is doing whatever you want. But real freedom is deeper. It is not being chained to what you do not want. Aging teaches us to say no to toxic relationships, no to endless obligations that steal our peace, no to bitterness that poisons the heart. I once heard an old man say, "I spent decades trying to please everyone. Only with grey hair did I begin to live for myself. And I realized nobody cared as much as I thought. I could have lived free long ago." There was also a retired teacher I knew. She gave all her time to committees, neighbors, and relatives. Saying yes became her identity, but it drained her. When she finally said no, she discovered painting, long walks, quiet prayer. Her friends said she looked younger than before. Another story comes from a widower who kept hosting family dinners out of guilt. He admitted, "I thought if I stopped they would stop loving me, but when I took a break they still came, this time bringing food for me." He laughed and said, "I was free and loved just the same. Freedom of the soul is not selfish, it is wisdom. Only when you free yourself can you love others without resentment. And once the soul is free, it finally has space to see the world with new eyes. What fills that space is gratitude, the gentle power that transforms ordinary days into miracles." Lesson 5. Gratitude as a way of life. If there is one practice that turns aging into grace, it is gratitude. Gratitude is not a single thought. It is a way of seeing when you wake up and feel the sun on your face, whisper thank you when you take a Breath, remember, not everyone received this gift today. When someone is kind, even in the smallest way, let your heart store it like treasure. The wise do not count what is missing, they count what remains. There was a grandfather who kept a small notebook by his bed. Each night he wrote 3 things he was grateful for: a smile from a stranger, a call from his granddaughter, the taste of hot soup on a cold night. He said, "When I die, I want this notebook beside me, because it proves my life was full." Another elder I met collected pebbles from his daily walks. Each pebble marked one moment of gratitude. After 10 years, he had jars full. He told me, "I don't own much, but each stone reminds me that my days were rich." Gratitude turns ordinary days into miracles. It turns old age into a blessing instead of a burden. Epictetus said he is a wise man who does not grieve for what he lacks, but rejoices for what he has. That is the secret to living peacefully at any age. So what is the wisdom of aging? To stop comparing, to accept impermanence, to cherish simplicity, to guard your inner freedom, and to live every day with gratitude like fine wine. Time does not weaken you, it deepens you. Aging is not the loss of youth, it is the arrival of wisdom. If these words touched your heart, join us here at Aging Like Wine. Subscribe and let us walk together, not just to live more years, but to find more life within our years.